All right. Hello, hello, hello. Hopefully you can hear me on this one. Um, Apparently the last one was fine. I just didn't give it a long enough. So hopefully I had a couple of people over there. Hopefully they flopped back over here on this one. Let's try this one here. I don't know why I'm struggling so much with this. All right. Hey, Rosie, can you hear me? Hey, Lori, thanks for joining. Volume's good. Thank you. Okay, well, good. I probably had the volume turned down. I started on another one, and I didn't even think about volume being turned down. Hey, happy Sunday, everybody. Rosie, Lori, Christina, thanks so much for popping in. This is Tara with Tarabeth Stamps. I'm an independent stamp demonstrator here in mid-Missouri. Hey, Julianne, thanks for joining. Oh, thank you guys. I don't know why the volume is so hard for me sometimes. Tonight we are going to do in yet another fun fold. I am using the Painterly Pear suite. So I've got the stamps and the dies. We're using the embellishments. The only thing I didn't use was the ribbon, but we're going to make a gatefold card. These are fun cards. They can be mantle sort of cards, which I absolutely love. I love when somebody can display your cards to show that love. Hey, Angie, thanks for joining. I think you were over at the other one and popped back over, so thank goodness you found that. So tonight's card is this gatefold. So this just displays the beautiful pattern paper, and I paired it with Coneflower Celebration to get the sentiments because I thought that was so pretty. So we are going to do this top portion first, and then we're going to assemble the card. Hey, Karen. Hey, Mary. Thanks for joining, guys. So we're going to set that to the side, and I'm going to find out. Here we go. Here's all of my stuff. So we're going to start. Oh, Mary, thanks. I'm glad you like it. So I've done some die cutting ahead of time, but we're going to do some stamping and assembling. And here we go. So let's see here what I have. So, hey, Sharon, thanks for joining. So what you'll find is my favorite thing to do with designer series paper is die cut it. So this gorgeous paper has this page right here, and all of these items can be die cut with the coordinating dies, and that's one of my favorite things to do. And especially if I don't like the back, that's even better. That's when you score for sure. So what I have done is I have die cut a piece of basic white with the largest, let me just show you here. This is the largest circle die from the Stylish Shape dies, and it fits in very well with the largest, I call this the dotted line die. That's how I differentiate it on my blog. So it's that largest dotted line die. And so they work really well together. So that's what I did. You'll notice you can layer them up really nice, and it kind of fits in perfect. I don't like the huge like layers you can get in between there. So here we go. Thought my Stampin' Seal Plus Stampin' Seal had disappeared. I thought, well, we're going to be in trouble. All right, so I'm just layering this on. So this is what's going to go on the front of that belly band for this card. So I've already added the stem on here. So this comes separately. You die cut that separately. And what I did was I glued it on with a glue dot. I took a glue dot, I folded it in half, and that's where I got. Oh, you know what? I didn't do my splatters. Getting ahead of myself. All right, so I've got some Secret C and this little splatter die from the Painting Perfectly Paired set. And it doesn't take a lot. There's not going to be a lot see-through out there. So we're just going to stamp that on, and then we'll go ahead. Let's go ahead and stamp the flowers too. So I've got a piece of Petal Pink that we're going to stamp, and then we're going to stamp the centers with Darling Duckling. So just a nice, real quick stamp there. And you know what? I think once we do this, we're going to stamp the inside because that Secret C, I like to give it a minute to dry. Okay, so it's going to take me a minute. I think that I got it on the first go. With these two-step stamps, sometimes I get a little lost. And so I just added those centers in there. Now, I'm going to bring in my mini cut and emboss, and we're going to just die cut these real quick. Not a whole lot to this card. That's the cool thing about Gatefold cards is they're so pretty, but yet they're so easy. And I love that. All right, so I've got the dies, coordinating dies, and we're just going to swing this through. And I won't lie to you, I had a hard time figuring out how these went this afternoon. So I had a different card. I was using the North Pole collection, but it was just too busy. So, hey, Amy, no worries, no worries. So, now this collection includes several in colors. So this is one of those items that you can grab 15% off. And that's only happening until the 31st. So what's today? So you have one more week to grab up some of this stuff at that 15% off sale. So make sure you get that done by the end of the week. You know, you can get those new ink pads. You can get the blends. All of the things that you got to have. All right. So here we go. So you don't want to miss out on that. All right. So now let's stamp that too. So I have the sentiment celebrating you, and that comes from Stampin' Up's Coneflower Celebration. So I love the font in this. It's really pretty, but I love the belated birthday and all of that jazz. So let's stamp that with a little Secret C, speaking of that in color. So I've got a Darling Duckling and Secret C that we're doing with this. Oops, that's too high. Let's do that again. Okay, now we're gonna have to die cut again because I goofed. So yes, 15% off. Now the cool thing about this, and I don't know if many people have talked about that, is that 15% can be stacked, you know, kind of like when you're couponing and you're stacking the coupons with the deals, kind of like Dollar General on Saturday, if you guys have Dollar General. Sometimes they let you stack those coupons. And so you can stack that 15% off with a starter kit. And you can put, you normally get $125 worth of stuff. You could get that 15% off on all of your starter kit stuff, and talk about stacking a deal right there. And then you get free shipping. So if that's something that interests you, then you'd be able to do an early order for the Christmas stuff. Reach out to me, let me know. I'd love to have you join me. We'd have a good time. I've got a great bunch of ladies. All right, now I've added some dimensionals on the back of this die cut, and I'm just gonna kind of lay it off kind of cattywampus. And now I'm going to add a dimensional just right in the center because I wanted to overlap this a little bit, but I want to be able to stuff these flowers underneath. So there we go. We'll put that one cattywampus as well. If that's a term, I'm not sure. Is that a term? Hey, Rosie, thanks for that reminder. Yeah, hit that subscribe button if you don't already. That way you know when I'm out here doing my thing. Okay. So I'm going to take some liquid adhesive and I'm going to add these little petal pink flowers. And I love petal pink with granny apple green. I think it's really pretty. All right, let's swirly whirl that thing around and see where we're gonna put it. Uh-oh, Luna's coming to visit. we had a class today and she had to stay out in the hallway. So she's kind of grumpy with me. So Tim's going to be able to hear me now and he's going to be grumpy now. All right, that's where I want to do that. So I'm just going to take a little bit of glue here. Debbie, thanks for joining. Cattywampus is definitely a term. Well, thank you, Mary. Thank you for being Team Cattywampus. All right, so there we go. That's that. Now, what I do when I have a little narrow sentiment strip like this that I'm going to have hanging off but on there, I'm going to go ahead and add that dimensional underneath here and add it directly to my paper. That way I know that it's not going to be too layered. Okay, so we're going to add a little liquid adhesive there. And then we're going to find, here we go. I'm going to move that up just a little bit. There we go. Except I think, there we go. Make it so it's not crooked. There we go. I think that's not crooked. I guess I could make it not crooked by just rolling that around. Okay, so that's our card front essentially, because that's going to go on the belly band. So let's stamp the inside. And so I have another beautiful sentiment from that Coneflower celebration. Even if the Coneflower doesn't appeal to you, which why would it not? It's gorgeous. But if it doesn't, the sentiments definitely should. It's perfect for those birthdays out there. All right, so I'm stamping that in Secret C, and then we're gonna layer it with some Secret C, a Secret C matte. And I think Secret C and Granny Apple Green have to be probably my favorite color combo right now, because that dark blue really makes that green pop. And oh, the Christmas cards you'll see with that. All right, so now we have all of our portions of our card together, and it's time to put it together. Now, I have a regular piece of Granny Apple Green cut at 5.5 by 11. And then once I cut my 5.5 by 11, I went ahead and cut another piece at 1.25 by 11. So that's gonna be my belly band. And where's my sticky with all, there it is. So my sticky tells me that we're gonna score at 1.25, 3 3/8, 7 5/8, and then 9 3/4. Now all these dimensions will be available on my blog and the PDF that'll be available tomorrow. So no need to write that down. But if you want to, it was 1.25, 3 3/8, 7 5/8, and 9 3/4. Now, let me move all of this junk over here. So the way I do my fun folds is on the Gatefolds, I go ahead and fold in. Excuse me, making sure you're lining up on each side so that it's nice and straight, and give that nice deep fold on that burnish. Burnish it really well. Then I flip it around and I do the same thing at the second score line from the end, and I give that nice deep burnish. So this is your card front. Now I'm going to fold these little flaps back and give it nice deep burnishes, and then you'll see that it meets right in the middle, which is exactly what we want. Nice right in the middle. Okay, so let's make sure our designer series paper is facing the right direction. We'll go ahead. This is gonna be, so this is a 5 3/8 by 2 inch piece of designer series paper. And it works out perfectly when the pears pop out underneath. So I'm just adding a little Stampin' Seal. Now, what else is coming up? Paper shares. I only have a few slots left. The deadline is Friday. Payment is due by Friday as well. So make sure you check out my blog for that information. Now, I made sure and cut these. Originally, I cut them like I measured 1 1/8, then I just cut one long piece. But what I actually needed to do was cut at 5 3/8 and then cut my 1 1/8 so that my lines lined up, because I wanted to make sure that was perfect. So making sure that we're keeping our lines even. So anytime you have a directional paper that has a pattern, you need to make sure that you do that when you're adding that. So yes, that's where I want it. I want it on this direction. So this is our card front. Card base ready to go. Now we can add our inside, the innards, to our card base. Now you could always add another like die cut. I thought I had another one. Oh, here it is. You could always add another die cut there. You could always stamp in the corner if you wanted to as well and dress it up. Now, here's my belly band. This is a 1 1/4 by 11 piece of Granny Apple Green. So what I do is I line it up on my grid paper. And then I line my card up. And I just do a nice even fold. And I kind of want it to be as centered as possible. So I'm going to fold it there. And I'm not going to fold it real tight, because you want it to have a little bit of wiggle room to get inside and out. Okay? But you have to be careful, because sometimes if you don't fold it well enough, then you end up not able to get it in the envelope. So it's kind of tricky that way. So I'm just going to take some Stampin' Seal and get it in the wrong place. So then you got to rub it off. That's what I love about Stampin' Seal. It's very forgiving. All right, now I'm lining this up, making sure that it's touching right there. And it's nice and even. I'm going to pull that up just a little bit. There we go. Seal that down a little better. All right. Slide that down there. So there's your belly band. Now, I think, yeah, let's do that. I'm going to use some tear tape, because I don't know where my Stampin' Seal Plus is. I think I took it crafting with me and it didn't come back with me. So I've been using tear tape a little more. So I'm just using tear tape just because this is a little sturdier. And sometimes that's what you need with something like this. All right. There's our card front. Essentially, want that nice and centered. Make sure that Celebrate You is even. Now, I've got my Take Your Pick tool, and I've got these beautiful low profile gems. I think I'm going to do yellow. I'm just going to do a couple of those. There we go. Looks like I got a Luna hair on there. If you get a card from me in the mail, know that it's going to have dog hair on it. It's just a thing. All right, so there's today's card, belly band, opening up. So we are winding down August, getting ready for September the 3rd. That's when all of the new online exclusives come out. Ooh, I'm glad you guys like this. Thank you, thank you. All the new online exclusives as well as the mini catalog. So if you need that sampler from my paper share, make sure you get signed up sooner rather than later, because like I said earlier, the slots are very limited. It's winding down quick. All right, now I'll get this little cut. If you want to grab that in color stuff and kind of stack that in your starter kit, let me know. I'll tell you what to do, what's required of you. And quite honestly, the only thing that's really required of you is that you want to have fun. That's ultimately the biggest thing. Here's tonight's card. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'll be back here next Sunday night. Yeah, it's Labor Day weekend. I think I'll still be here. I don't think we have plans. So we'll be back here Sunday night with another card tutorial. You guys have an amazing week. Thanks for spending part of your weekend with me. We'll see you later. Bye.